the women labor force participation in India is very low. And there have been enough studies and more that highlight the fact that and I think the recent one was a McKinsey report, which said that even if you increase it by 10%, that's it. I mean, currently it's at about 33 as per the government records in the organized sector, I'm saying, not the unorganized sector.
Yeah.
And if you would increase it even marginally, it's going to have a huge impact on the GDP, right? A 10% increase means about 70 million women will join the workforce.
Wow.
So you're putting it, and that will again have like hundreds of billions of dollars. I think it's about 700, that number. That's how much our GDP will go up.
Right.
So even if you have to put it as dramatically as looking at the balance sheet, I think it's a win-win situation.
So, some women are actually scared to take this leave because they don't want to seem weak or less professional. We fought for this right, and now we're to an extent too afraid to use it. What does that say about where we actually are?
I mean, that is true. I'm guessing for you as well, and for me as well. I mean, we've all gone to work with discomfort, with a bit of pain, thinking, of course, you can't take a day off, unless I'm dying in pain, of course, I can't. So I think this is such a landmark judgment because what it's doing really is saying menstruation is not a personal problem anymore.
Right.
It becomes a workplace issue. And that whole mindset, for that to change, I think that is the significance of this ruling. And yes, you're right. And of course, women are hesitant. And of course, they will be. I mean, changes like this take time. But I think this is the step in the right direction. And frankly, I think it need not be limited to a state. I think it's about time. There has been a lot of kind of groundwork being done on this by gender activists, but it's been a part of the larger conversation of workplace inclusion and all of that. But I think it's about time you also think of a national policy framework to address this, because what is critical here is that companies need clear guidelines. For something like this, and I have to highlight this, just a couple of days ago, in the state that I'm in a university, there were 3 sanitation workers who were asked to actually prove that they were having their periods. Which is absolutely ridiculous, And this is when you realize that laws like this are important and absolutely critical to normalize what is in our country.
Ms. Kumar, here's the uncomfortable question, but we need to get at it, so to speak. Could this actually hurt women's hiring prospects? Because if you're a company choosing between 2 equally qualified candidates, right, and one comes with 12 guaranteed days off, are we setting ourselves up to be quietly passed over?
Right. It's a very valid question, Elle. And we, in India as well, we've been talking about this. Is this move progressive? Is it symbolic? Or can it actually backfire?
Yeah.
And honestly, you're hoping it doesn't. But the fact is that a hiring manager will look at you and say, she's not going to be around, but he is.
Right.
Or, in any case, we're struggling with things like, oh, she'll get married and go, and oh, she's getting pregnant and going, and now she's going to get her periods and she'll be off. But hopefully, and again, this is a step forward, but I think this needs a little more nuanced approach as well in the longer term.
Right.
Because it not one day it does not solve the issue. You need to have companies who are okay with remote working, with flexible hours maybe, or even something as simple as, hygienic facilities in office.
It's not seeing it as a problem, but rather as something that is part of life, and it all connects to the history in India in this respect. Doesn't come in a void.
Yes, absolutely. 25% of girls in school drop out when they start their periods. I mean, it's shocking if you think about it. Why would you stop an education, right?
Right.
And sometimes it's as simple as there isn't like a safe, clean toilet in school. So these are practical, on the ground problems that we, and especially, and which is why this is such an important judgment, because it's also reducing structural barriers to entry. We talked about women labor participation in the workforce, and this kind of addresses that structural bottleneck as well.
So many question marks surrounding this period, right?
Yeah, but it's a step forward. Again, in our country, there's so much.
Progress is not linear. It's about embracing complexity, not trying to solve it. Indian columnist Ekta Kumar, always a pleasure speaking to you. Thank you very much for this. Thank you.